As a freelancer, setting your rates and packages can be really intimidating, especially if you've never really been in charge of how much you earn. And as with most things, there is no one size fits all. So how do you know what to do? So today, that is what I'm covering. I'm going to discuss how to set your rates as a freelancer and how to decide how much to charge. Hi, I am Taylor Gill, a work and travel lifestyle coach. I teach remote professionals how to work anywhere and live everywhere. And today we're going to be discussing how to set your rates as a freelancer. So I am a freelancer. It is one of the many things that I do. And when I got started, it was really hard for me to figure out how to charge. I didn't know how valuable my skills were or weren't, and I didn't know how to price them or what that looked like, how to create packages. I didn't know how to do any of that. So that is what I want to help walk you through today. Now, before I get into the different ways that you can charge, the first thing that you really want to figure out for yourself is your mindset. So if you come from a background where you're constantly trading your time for money, being a freelancer is going to be really challenging, especially up front, because it's really hard to get out of that mindset. So it's really good to go into a place of understanding the value that you bring. And when you understand not just the deliverables that you'll be giving, but the value that you're bringing on top of that, that will really help you be more comfortable charging probably a little bit higher rate than you maybe would start with, because you understand the value-based pricing that you're setting. So I just want to point that out right up top, because I think it's one of the things that freelancers have a really hard time with, especially at first. There are different ways that you can actually charge for your services. So the first way, and the way that's probably what you thought of at first, is an hourly rate. So this is saying I charge $50 per hour of work. Again, this goes back into the trading time for money mindset, and it's really not going to be the best way for you to earn a lot of income when it comes to freelancing. In part because there is a limit to how much time you can work, and there's a limit to how many hours there are in the day. So you can only sell so many hours. And keep in mind, you also have to have hours to sleep and to eat and to relax and recharge and do all these other things. So the amount of time you can actually work is limited, so therefore you're limiting your income. Now, it doesn't mean that it's never a good model to use in different ways. Maybe you offer one-off consulting services, and so you'll say, 1 hour consultation with me is $100. My rate's $100 an hour. That's what you get. So there are some times where it just makes it easy and simple, but I would say on an ongoing basis, you want to really move away from the hourly model. The next model that you can use is a retainer. And this one's used in a lot of different, even at, law firms, right? You have your lawyer on retainer. I've never had that, but it's a thing. But also as a virtual assistant, this is actually how I do my contracts. So I have a couple of different clients, and they're ongoing clients. So they're on a retainer schedule. So they pay a set fee per month. And there's expectations within that, right, about what I'm going to deliver in that time. But if they don't give me anything to work on, say it's a slow month and I don't have anything for me to work on, I still get paid, right? So they're keeping me on retainer to keep me around for when they do actually need me. Now, most months we figure it out and there's plenty of stuff for me to work on and to do. But the good thing about that is you're not reliant on having actual work to do. And also, if you work quickly, right? So say you're so good at what you do and you've got really good systems in place and you work really fast, your hourly rate is not going to reflect, again, the value that you're bringing your client by being able to do things quickly and still do them really well. You're bringing your expertise that you're not really getting paid for. By charging a retainer rate, you can include a lot of that value and that expertise into that rate, so that it doesn't really matter how long it takes you to do a project. The hours don't really matter. What matters is that the value that you're bringing, and that's really what they're paying you for on top of the deliverables, if that makes sense. Now, another way that is really common is to do just a project-based fee. So this is really common amongst like web designers or someone who is sitting down and working on one thing and then delivering it to you, and then the relationship is kind of over if there's not ongoing tasks. This could be a copywriter. This could be, like I said, a web designer or someone you're hiring just to do like one thing for you. Project-based fees are really going to vary depending on the project. A website redesign and rebuild is obviously going to cost you more than, say, someone who writes you a blog post. Like, those are just not comparable in the time and the skills that it brings you. So figuring out your project-based fee is just going to depend on what it is that you're offering. And the last rate that you may or may not be familiar with is actually a day rate. So this is sort of like, in my mind, a step up from that hourly, and then like retainers a step up from that, and then day rate is like one step up from that. So what is a day rate? A day rate is where you are charging them for spending a day working on their stuff. So again, there's usually a deliverable involved here. You know how much you can do in a day and how much you can get done, but you're saying like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to deliver all of this stuff in a day. And what that allows you to do is also raise your prices and raise your day rate, because you're giving them dedicated time to focus and you're getting things done quickly. So if you can say, I know copywriters do this. So they say, okay, you know, you need a sales page and an email sequence to follow up with whatever you're selling. Cool. My day rate is $1,000. So you pay $1,000, and then after whatever day it is that they're working, you get all of your deliverables at one time. Web designers is another one who could do this. You could sit down. It's probably going to take you multiple days, but you could figure out how much you do in a day, break down those tasks, and just charge a day rate. So this one allows you to really batch your tasks, so you can actually, that's a productivity hack, right? Like that's the best way to get things done, is to focus on one client at a time. It allows you to charge a little bit more and allows you to really build that relationship and focus on that client. So that is a day rate. So again, it's not built around how many hours you're working, because it doesn't matter. It's not built around being available for your client when they're ready, like a retainer. A day rate is really built around you building out your own schedule and saying, you know, I only want to work, 15 days this month, right? So that's, it's like 3.5, 4 days a week. And I, this is my day rate, and this is how many days I need to actually work to get the money that I want to make, which is the next point. So like, how do you actually set your rates? How do you decide if your day rate is 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 or whatever it is? The first thing you want to do is do a little bit of market research. Like, what are people in your field who offer your same services or types of packages? How much are they charging? What is the lowest? What is the highest? Sort of like, what is the median? That'll give you a really good idea of where to start. The next thing you want to think about is, what are your packages? So do you just have one package and that's it, and that is what you're selling? Or do you have maybe a high tier package? Maybe you have a course. Let's just say you have a course. This is a digital product. So you have a digital product, but you offer one-on-one coaching or maybe a group coaching program to go along with that course, right? That's going to be your high tier offer. And then you just have the course, and that involves no one-on-one time from you. You've already done the work. There you go. Buy my course, figure the things out. And then maybe you also have, maybe you're a service-based person and you have maybe, an online template that's $47 that people can download because you're an expert in sales copy or something, right? So you have a sales copy template so that people can create their own if they actually can't afford to hire you or purchase your course. So knowing what other people charge, figuring out what you actually have to offer. And then the next thing you want to do is think about how much you want to make in the year. So say in 1 year, you want to make $100,000. If you break that down by month, that's $8,333 or something. We'll just say $8,300 for the month. That is your goal, monthly goal. So then you have to look at what your packages are, what your services are, or what you think you can get, and figure out how to price them in a way that gets you to your monthly goal. But then also that they can work together. So in a perfect world, you say you have a $5,000 package, you would just sell 2 of those a month. Great, done. Okay, that's not always how it happens. You might sell 1 of those a month, and then you need another $3,000 to kind of fill that gap for the month. So maybe you have maybe you have one-on-one coaching, maybe you have group coaching, and you have a course and a product. Or maybe you have retainer clients, and then to fill in that extra income from the retainers, like I said, you sell those templates, or you sell something online that doesn't require a lot of your time. So that is kind of how you can think about starting to figure out your starting rates. And again, I really encourage you to go back to understanding the value that you're bringing your client or whoever is hiring you, and go from a value-based mindset and not just a time for money mindset, because that is going to be really hard, and that's where you get on like the hamster wheel, and that's where you just feel really stuck. Another thing I would caution you against, just because we're talking about it, is saying, okay, I'm going to charge $30 an hour, right? That's my going rate. And then each year I'll give myself a raise, or each 6 months, or whatever it is. That's really nice in theory, and you should definitely be giving yourself a raise. So especially if you've been in this field for a while, be giving yourself regular raises. But the downside to that is that your client is going to refer you to someone else. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, you have to meet Taylor. She is so awesome. She's exactly what you need for your business, and she only charges $30 an hour. Isn't that great? So then this new referral client, and you're like, okay, I'm raising my rates to $40 an hour. And this new client comes to you, referral client, and they're like, hey, I need XYZ, and I hear you only charge $30 an hour. And you're like, yes, well, actually, I raised my prices. And it's okay. It's totally okay to say, hey, actually, that's, that person came on a year ago and that's their rate, but I've actually raised my prices since then. So this is what my new price is. You have to be able to be okay with having the money conversation, by the way, as a freelancer. But what it might do in the moment is you might be like, oh yeah, that's right. Since they told you that's how much I charge, that's how much I feel like I have to charge. And then you never actually raise your prices. That happens, right? It's obviously not where you want to be, but it does happen. So just keep that in mind as well when you're setting your prices and you go through like, okay, well, I'll raise my prices, a little bit each time. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be doing that. But make sure you start from a place that feels good already, and maybe even a place that stretches you just a little bit. And once you get confident there, then you can kind of keep stretching yourself with your prices a little bit more. Anyways, that was quite a bit of information. I hope you found it really helpful. If you are interested in becoming a freelance virtual assistant like I am, or an online business manager, I do actually recommend a course from a friend of mine. Her name is Hannah. She has the Digital Nomad Kit course. It's the same course I went through 3 years ago and got me to where I am today. So I'll put a link to that course down below if that's a field you're interested in. Otherwise, I also have a free guide, which is Design Your Own Work and Travel Lifestyle. So this will really help you get you started thinking about what you want to do and where you want to be. So both of those things will be linked down below. I am Traveling Taylor. If you want more business and lifestyle tips, be sure to subscribe to this channel and click the bell so that you don't miss any future publications. I have new videos every Tuesday, so I will see you next week.